So new rules take effect next year for car dealerships to prevent misleading ads and hidden fees at dealerships. They should reduce some of the stress when buying a car or a truck and also save you some money. Chuck Bell, Director of Advocacy with Consumer Reports, is joining us via Zoom this morning to explain what these rules mean for new car and truck buyers. Good morning, Chuck. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
So can we start, if we could, with pricing, right? What must a dealer tell a buyer?
So under this new rule, which goes into effect next July, the dealer has to tell the consumer the full offering price for the vehicle, inclusive of all the fees and charges except for any government charges or taxes. And that's been a longstanding frustration for consumers. A lot of times when you call a dealer, they'll give you a price, but it's not for a vehicle that's actually on the lot. And this rule is going to clamp down on that and make sure that consumers can get accurate prices through ads, internets, and phone calls.
Yeah, so they don't get surprised then in the end. So I know, in having bought cars previously, that dealerships they often explain pricing in monthly payments. So what are they required to do now when it comes to that?
Yeah, under this law, it's been made very clear that dealers will have to give consumers the full all-in purchase price for the vehicle, inclusive of all the financing and add-on charges. So you want to know when you go to buy a car the total cost. Oftentimes the dealer will tell you, look, I can get you a lower monthly payment, but if they do that, they're going to have to tell you how that affects the total price. If you take a longer loan, you could end up paying, $10,000 more for a vehicle these days. So it's important for consumers to get the full all-in price for the financing and all the options.
Yeah, you also, if you're borrowing the money, you have to think about that interest rate, and expanding out that payment can end up leading with you paying a lot more, as you mentioned. So car and truck buyers have the right also to refuse any products or services that increase the price. What are some examples of this?
Yeah, so it's very common that when you get toward the end of the purchase transaction, you're ushered into the finance and insurance office at the dealership, and so they will ask you to fork over a lot of extra money for extended warranties, VIN etching, various kinds of paint coatings, nitrogen-filled tires, gap insurance. And so this rule will make clear that the consumer has the right to refuse those add-ons, and it gives you a better opportunity to discuss all those options in advance so that you're not surprised at the end with them trying to tack on a lot of extra charges. So we estimate that this is going to save consumers something like $3.4 billion a year. And 72 million hours. It should make car shopping a lot faster.
So, Chuck, it's interesting because we were, just as you were talking, we had some of those kind of bullet points on the screen. And I think that you read these and you think, wow, do dealerships really do this? Like, for example, a duplicative warranty, a service contract for oil changes on an electric vehicle. I mean, does this not illustrate the reason that you always need to ask a lot of questions and also read the fine print?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the problem is that the consumer gets ambushed at the end. There's often several salespeople you're talking to. They imply that you really need all of those things. The items on that list that you just read, those are worthless junk fees. And so some of those are directly banned by the new cars rule. And we're happy for that. But the consumer will still have to be prepared to decline those options. And some of them are grossly overpriced. So really think about it before you head into the dealership of what, if any, add-ons you want. It's your right to refuse all of them, and many of them are really not a good value.
Chuck Bell, Director of Advocacy with Consumer Reports, thank you for your time this morning. Very important for our viewers, since, at some point, we're all going to have to buy a car, right? So I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your talking to you.
And, you should know that all of these new rules go into effect in July, so July 30th of next year.